and they work out the swell. Doing the bop that they love, they go. Welcome on to Antone's, y'all, the Flametrick subs. The Satan's Cheerleaders. I'll be down. I don't gotta tell you people nothing. It's a beautiful jungle night we got going here this evening. There's a jungle moon up in the sky. Jungle stars. Man, there's monkeys in those trees. And they're making movies with Super 8 film. And you're sitting there. Well, the big chief call you guest of honor. He invites you into his native sauna. Come on, buddy. Don't be a dog, no. That's right into that big hot tub. Ooh, let's rub a dub. A pinch of this, a slap of that. Some monkey blood, a little porker fat. What do you say? How about that? Little carrots, parrots, they all climb in that tub with you. Oh, yeah. So you're sitting there. Just relax, y'all. Let the bubbles do all the work. And you look over to your right. Sitting in the hot tub with you is a guy. And I'll be damned if he doesn't look, vaguely familiar. Yeah, kind of an awkward moment, you know. Just be cool, man. Just be cool. You look over at him and you say, you know, not too assuming tone, you know, and like, hey man, I don't want to presume, but you're that Dr. Livingstone guy, aren't you? I knew it was you. I got your trading card right here in my wallet. It's a little wet right now, but if you wouldn't mind, you know, for the kid. You ask any Jumbo Explorer, man, they'll tell you straight up. A man can get mighty lonely out there in the jungle. So you turn to the good doctor and yeah, not too assuming tone, you know. Hey doc, do not fuck this up for me, man. Well, the native girls go coochie coochie coo. They do those things that native girls just do. The water's so hot, it almost boils. They rub you down with spices and oil. Thanks for coming to dinner. Here's a little political song here. Of all of the amendments, I'd have to say I like number 2 the best. Why, I bet we wouldn't even have half the amendments that we do have if it wasn't for good old number 2. If I only had $1 for every song I sung, I'd go down to the pawn shop and I'd buy a great big gun. I'd go down to the pawn shop and I'd buy a great big gun. And I'd kill you know, and I'd suck my bitch and I'd never done it all. If I only had $1 for every song I sung, I'd buy myself a boneyard, then I'd bury everyone. I'd bury him and I said, oh Lord, I'd bury everyone. I'd bury this like your motherfucking ass every night and all. Dig it! Easy now. This is America, y'all. You can do whatever the hell you want in this country. That being said, it's important to hold on to your dreams, but it's equally important to be pragmatic about your dreams, you know. I ain't got no graveyard and I ain't got no gun, so I'll be extra super nice and smile at everyone. You folks keep paying money to hear us play these songs, so I kill me alone, I'll solve the bitch and every night. Thank you!
you who've never been to Texas before, welcome to the capital, my friends. This one's for the president. Let's get fucked up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go now. Everybody rocking just to have a good time. We're putting on super red cherry wine. When you try to scare me, you fall down. Open up your eyes and the room's going around. Everybody rocking, we're having a good time. We're putting on super red cherry wine. Come on, let's drink a little wine. Oh, baby, I would be. I am your soul. Drinking wine, everybody messed up and lying on the floor. So even if they wanted to, they couldn't find it on the floor. Everybody fucked up and lying on the floor. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't find it on the Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to see all of you out on a weeknight and all. Here's to drinking on a weeknight.
Skål för fan!
Songs about cars we never owned and girls we never even met. Got a big black Cadillac, super speed, need a hot rod, Jose, R.I.P. Drinking with smoke like the light. Well, I said, well, you're back. Me and my jet black Cadillac. Well, up the boulevard, down the avenue, rolling, it's just this better. I'll tell you, they got a couple more. We'll see you later. Just your motor from the jack. Me and my jet black Cadillac.
Jet black Cadillac. Jet black Cadillac. Thanks, y'all. Priorities, yo, priorities. Just like that. Cheers, y'all. Here's a little ditty called The Pride of Texas. It goes like this. Deep in the heart of Texas, the trailer park in Antone. Deep in the heart of Texas, through when he spits his juice. Deep in the heart of Texas, all the Disney players for no one cares. Deep in the heart of Texas. Easy now. We like to give y'all each a little bit of history in each and every show we like to do that, you know, because believe it or not, education will make you smarter. People are a lot more likely to believe your bullshit if they've been drinking, you know. So, on a Wednesday. Who's calling in sick to work tomorrow? Right on. So the end was near and they were hanging out at the Alamo. Santa Ana's cannonballs flying over the wall. Exploding everywhere, people dying. Davy Crockett and David Bowie were hanging out back there. David Bowie, he said, oh baby, just you shut your mouth. Took out his knife. He said, hey Davy, it looks like the end is near, man. I got one question for you. Mr. Crockett. What's your favorite kind of beer? Davy Crockett didn't even wait a second, man. He said, fucking Lone Star. And David Bowie, who was from England, didn't even know any better. He said, that sounds like a great name for this state. Let's call it the Lone Star State, y'all. Cheers. And over the years, people have moved into Texas. People that actually like the flavor of Lone Star beer. And sometimes they live in big mansions out by the lake. And sometimes they live at trailer parks out by the highway, you know? In between every Southern Baptist church and every country western radio station in Texas, my friends, you will find a trailer park. And on Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, sometimes Sunday after church, when the Lone Star beer is flowing like cheap beer out of, I don't know, San Antonio, Texas. One thing always leads to another. And it's just good old-fashioned entertainment, y'all. It's better than cable TV any day. It's an old story, but I'll tell it again. It's an old story, but I'll tell it again. Mom's got two black eyes, Daddy told her twice. He's been the hard of Texas. Like your mind, you can be your wife. He's been the hard of Texas. Look at that room when the police come. He's been the hard of Texas. The children will wail that they can't make wail. He's been the hard of Texas. I trespassed all through the night, way down, right here, deep in the heart of Texas. It's the Lone Star State, y'all. Home sweet home. Thank you, Texas. I'd like to introduce on our lead guitar, all the way from Haugesund, Norway, Mr. Clem Hoot. He wrote this one, y'all. Drink up. I need a beer. We all can use a beer, don't we? I'd like to introduce back here on the drums, all the way from Antone, Texas, the home of happiness. Her name is Miss Fortune, y'all. On the bulldog bass from Panama City, Florida, Mr. Lefty DeMarco. This one's called Early Grave. It goes like this. Well, things look bad. But they could be worse. Well, I ain't sad. Cause the tail river rocking in the back of the hearse. Let's rock. Rocking in the back of the hearse. Let's rock. Rocking in the back. Let me tell you about this eyeball condition. What I got. One, two, three, four.
Look up in the sky, oh my, the great big evil floating eye.
You winked at me when I walked past, so I winked back and I took off fast. It was a great big evil floating eye. Rubbing up a little fire. Hell yeah, say it.
I guarantee you my confidence. It's in the deep by surprise.
And I burned down right above me.
It stared into my eyes, yeah, it went.
Here's looking at you.
I got a little forward out of here. Who does he whisper say? Take it there. Temptation I'm gonna expose. The two balls what that I propose. Yeah, Satan's eye, so you're gonna cheat, you're gonna lie, you can have anything your little heart desires, but your soul's mine when it retires. Yeah, never know the soul stealing layers. Whose brain holds it to your ears, fill your head with bad ideas.
Thank y'all very, very much. This song is why churches keep that keep off the lawn sign in operation all the time. Holy shit! Well, Ollie's got a dolly with some pins stuck in his head. Dolly's got a horseshoe out the front of her bed. Grandma reads the future from giblets on the wall. And Grandma's got the mojo and I'll tell you now. It's everything you say. It's everywhere you go. From up down to see I do. I gotta go. Here we go. Bobby boy, Ouija board from a toy store in the mall. Dennis gets his future from some gypsy with a ball. Brandon worship Satan, light her on the lamp. Don't you too much for the bravo, get her skull crap. Let's pray. Marlo's got a rabbit's foot hanging from a chain. Marcus got a little tiny piece of Hitler's brain. Let's flush the quart of blood, one never drain. Until you want it's making you insane. Be careful where you stand, careful where you sit. Here is a ribald little number. It can be summed up like this. Hire lonely women. They're fun to watch. Who else plays got soul in the silver pain? People let's it all. Makes it dance. Makes it rock. It's how you get it all. Watch lips in all the steps out on the road. It runs on high, it runs on low. But she don't care. Watch the look. Come on, Evan, let's go. Let's go. Cause she was my baby. She was my baby. Come on, Evan, let's go. Let's go. Oh, she's a all the switch got broke. She didn't quit when she was smoking. She was my baby, she was no more. Yeah, she was my baby. She was my baby. She got him and that's better. Let's go. She sure did. Here we go. Don't get all excited, it ain't for you. It's just a little visual aid. Illustrate my point. Like a needle on the meter, gotta wiggle just a little baby in the radiation while you're gyrating your middle. I'm around the floor like a horn on a griddle. Got to this here mama where I scientific riddle. Rock it, double radiation rock. It's a little looking very curious, Mr. Spock. Get all over it, it's the radiation rock. Let's rock it.
Radiation around one more time.
American made. Let's all celebrate the smoking ban together, all right? Ain't that the way it always works? If you start smoking now, like if you've never smoked before, by the time the cigarette ban goes into effect, you can quit with pretty much no problem whatsoever, y'all. So. And voting is for winners. I want to tell you a little story about me and nicotine. It's sort of a long story, so light a cigarette or two and sit back and listen to my tale of woe. I started smoking cigarettes at the tender age of 3 years old. I was hanging out in my playpen when my mom came in to check on me, you know. She was leaning over me and one of her Virginia Slims fell out of her breast pocket. Did a beautiful half-gainer double somersault and landed square between my lips. Real babies should never smoke, my friends. But this was back in the 60s, you know. They didn't know any better. She called to my dad, who was out in the living room. She said, "Honey, come quick. Bring the Polaroid. It's so cute." My dad gathered up the camera and he came into the room and he looked at what he saw. He pulled out a Zippo lighter and lit me up. He said, "That's cute right there." Dear old dad. Smoking is like a lot of things in life. You get pretty much what out of it, what you put into it. And by the time I was 5 years old, I was hooked. Stopping by the 7-Eleven on the way to elementary school. Pick me up a pack of Camels, you know. Hanging out by the bike rack. Smoking. Recess. Smoking. Who wants to play tag, huh? I was so cool. If you smoke long and hard enough and with real American-style dedication, you are rewarded incrementally for your efforts by Big Daddy Tobacco. It starts off innocent enough, you know. They give you like a lighter or a free hat. You smoke a little bit more, and they give you a backpack so you can smoke while you're hiking. You smoke a little bit more and they send you kayak. Because nothing's more fun than lighting up a camel as you shoot the rapids. And if you're truly dedicated to your cause, they'll send you a chimpanzee. And it sits right on your shoulder. And it lets you know when it's time to smoke again. I named mine RJ. If you smoke long and hard enough, you are rewarded for your efforts with a gift that keeps on giving. And I'm not talking about that pussy lung cancer neither. You can get that shit just living in Los Angeles, y'all. What I'm talking about is deep down in your chest, where your lung tubes split left and right, dripping with tar and mucus, nagging, hacking, annoying cough. From the time it wakes you up in the morning until the time you go to bed at night. Spit. They got some fancy medical word for it, but we just call it the permanent hack. There was a time in America where codeine cough syrup flowed like cheap beer out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And it was good for whatever ailed you. The kid getting bad grades in school, give him some codeine. Billy sprained his ankle, give him some codeine. You come down with a permanent hack, take some codeine. But those days are gone. Gone with a Texan in the White House. A real Texan in the White House. Gone with lawn darts. But down in Mexico, the codeine cough syrup flows like cheap tequila out of Mexico City. So I went down to Mexico, walked into the first pharmacia I saw. I said, hey man, I got this cough. I need the good stuff. He said, wait right here. And he was a professional. He was a professional. He opened up the bottom drawer of his desk and pulled out a bottle of tequila with about that much in the bottom of it. And just to show me how professional he really was, he put that bottle to his lips and he drank it right there in front of me. Worm and all. He took that empty bottle into the back room and he came back about 5 minutes later with the same bottle, filled to the top with some yellow mucus-colored liquid. He took a Sharpie marker out of his lab coat and he crossed out the word tequila. And in its place he wrote La Codina. Viva Mexico. I gave him $3 American and I left. Went back to America where it's safe. Sure it is. Went back to my American apartment with my bottle of tequila, codeine, cough syrup, and a fresh carton of cigarettes. And I sat down in front of my television set, turned on something not too interruptive, you know, like a C-SPAN, or I think it was, you know. Pulled out a shot glass, lit up a cigarette, poured me a glass of that codeine cough syrup. And I drink a little, smoke a little, drink a little, smoke a little, drink, smoke, drink a little more. I mean to tell you, by the time the sun came up the next morning, my carton of cigarettes was empty. My bottle of tequila, codeine, cough syrup was empty. I still don't know where that shot glass ended up. And my cough had shuffled off to upstate New York. I realized right then that I felt as good as I had ever felt in my entire life. Even though my apartment, my American apartment, had hardwood floors, it felt like I was walking on 6 inches of shag carpet as I made my way toward the bathroom where the mirror is. You see, I felt so good that I figured if I felt that good, I probably looked pretty good too, you know? So I went in to see if I was right, and I was looking in the mirror at myself, like I do. And the first thing I realized is that I did not look as good as I felt. Not by a long shot. The second thing I realized, looking in the mirror at myself, is that on my shoulder, where RJ, my little nicotine chimpanzee, used to hang out and let me know when it was time to smoke again, there was a new monkey, a giant simian, the size of Mighty Joe Young, sitting there, a little shit-eating grin on his face. He had on this ill-fitting 50-50 blend t-shirt. And I was looking at it in the mirror, so it read backwards, but I'm pretty sure it said, Mom and Dad went down to the border town, and all I got was this shitty codeine habit, y'all. I'm a realist. I was a junkie. A codeine cough syrup junkie. But I was a junkie that knew how to play 3 chords on the guitar, y'all. So I did what any 3-chord junkie would do. I wrote a blues song about it. The name of this blues song is the Codeine Monkey Blues, and it's in the key of E for the king of rock and roll, the king of the 3-chord junkies, the only man strong enough to carry the entire monkey house all the way from Memphis, Tennessee, out to its home at the San Diego Zoo on his very own back. And Colonel Tom Parker was just there to crack the whip. So we'd like to play this song for y'all now. But remember, it's not for you. It's for that little uncircumcised hillbilly boy from Tupelo, Mississippi.
I'm all screwed up. I'm a mess. I don't remember your name. Maybe I can just wait. Have mercy on me. I've been drinking monsters, things it's a catastrophe. Well, monsters good, you know it's a fact. It ain't shit, but you get a monkey on your back. I hate to give you the news. My mind's in a body of the good monsters good. Wow. Drink this, got my hat, you know, took one more one, then went back and forth. I need a moment, baby. Until take the bottom of it into your soul. Good go. Drinking on the case, I keep going so my board in my face and I'm I got a monkey on my back, but the shoes on the free. Oh yeah, I got a monkey on my back, but the shoes on the free.
Down in the lab, that's where you'll find him. With his brand new creature on the slab behind him. He's got things that bubble, things that spark. But every brand new my shark. Oh, come on, shark. Yeah, let me see it, shark. He spent his life working on his dreams. Meanwhile, back at the lab, the creature's gone, it's run amok. It burned down the church and raised my truck. They picked up pitchforks, guns, and hoes. Down to the science lab they go. Yeah, there they goes. They storm the lab, they burn it down. They This song is called Life-Sucking Voodoo Women. Cause that's what it's about.
Sucking voodoo women. Sucking voodoo women.
In spite of all that schooling, all that time and effort, ill spent and wasted, I just don't know. How'd that feel on the ears? One, two, three, four. Well, look up on the hill, man, what do I say? Creepy dead bump of the I turned to my baby, said, hey, darling, ain't this neat? Let's go. Boy, I'm to the house, to the mall. To your car, baby, don't to the mall. They're after you. Ain't nothing you can do that we can do to the mall. Not hardly. Later we were back at the house. The doors were broken open, we're quiet as a mouse. And banging on the window. Let's go. Junior, the lava step. We're to the house. We're to the mall. They're after you. Nothing you can do that we can do to the mall. Coming for you, Barbara. sang Peggy Sue like this. We're going to the house, we're going to the mall, we're going to your car, baby, don't throw the ball. We're after you, and you're the ball. We're after you, and we're going to give you the big ball. Thank y'all very, very much. It's been a pleasure. Thanks to the Stingers. Y'all have a good night.
Yeah, I put myself in danger from time to time. I run the risk. You know, hell, I used to skydive, ride bulls, and race motorcycles. I'm an adrenaline junkie. You know, can't lock me up for it. Ain't illegal.